Hello everyone, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel, and today, let me tell this up, glare in the way. Today, we are taking a look at the Cimarron Evil Roy. So you have Cimarron firearms, Evil Roy, 4.75 inch barrel, chambered in .357 Magnum. This is part number ER4103. What's all that? What's all that about? Let's open this up. A quick look at the box. I said it before, Cimarron and Uberti could put their guns in a nicer box. Although, it's alright. It's alright. What we got in here? I'm your Huckleberry. I've never watched Tombstone. I know this is from a reference to the movie Tombstone. I've never watched it. I'm sure it's great. 5 years to life firearms repair policy. Okay. You might just want to pause and read that at your leisure. Warranty information. There's a bunch of literature in here. There's a manual here. This manual I don't believe is specific to this model of gun, so I'm just gonna kind of just go with that. A lot of literature in here. Oh, here we've gotten to the actual gun. Isn't that a beauty? I've said it before, I don't care too much for color case hardening, but it just seems like I keep getting guns with it on it. So let's put that aside just a moment. Anything else in this box? There was one thing in the box. I didn't understand what it was. It looks like possibly a replacement mainspring. Maybe the original mainspring. Get there. And that's it for this box. Because this is not a very durable box. I feel like if you actually use this box too much, the box will just fall apart. But typically I just keep this box separate and the literature kind of goes in there and never use the box. So the box is out of here. But for the people who are interested in buying this gun, they might want to see what comes with it. So, gun. Let's see, what can we do to dress this up? We got some .357 Magnum ammo. We've got a nice holster here. And something. How should I? We'll go with that. We'll go with that. So what do we have here? We have the Evil Roy. This is a .357 Magnum, which means you can also take .38 Special. .357 Magnum revolver. Little lint there. And it is a reproduction, a replica of the Colt Single Action Army. Now the Evil Roy, the glare makes it a little hard to see. The Evil Roy .357 Magnum is a special edition. I say special edition is a special edition. Intended for competition use. There's a competition shooter, I believe his name is Gene Piercy, who is a relatively well-known cowboy action competition shooter. And he kind of got together with Cimarron and kind of came up with this particular gun. And it has a few special features. Some people might care about, some people might not. And I guess we'll talk about them as we go through back to front. But again, this is more or less a Colt Single Action Army reproduction done to a certain standard, a certain specification. So I'll start with the grips. The Evil Roy grips are just a little bit thinner than on most other Colt Single Action Army reproductions, or the Colt Single Action itself. It's just a little more slimmer, a little more trim, not a ton. And I think the intention is to make it a little bit easier for one-handed shooting. You know, you come from like this is a competition gun. This is a cowboy action shooting competition gun. The idea is you might come out of a holster and go like, poof, which is a style of shooting that I really don't do. I'm not a cowboy action shooting guy. However, I do like the guns. I think they're cool. And the grips are just a little bit thinner. Honestly, I think I prefer just the regular size grips, but this is fine. I don't dislike them enough to get rid of them, but I think I just prefer them be the regular size. Let's see what else we got going on here. We got the hammer. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying something that this is... Oh, I got so much lint on it. I put this down. I got so much lint on this gun. This is 100% unsafe to carry with the hammer on a live cartridge. See that? That's the hammer. See that? That's the hammer. See that? There's a live cartridge here. You smack this, the gun can go off. So that is 100% a known issue on Colt single action armies. AKA Colt Model 1873, AKA Peacemaker. That is a known issue. Now, certain models from Uberti and Pieta and all those guys will have modern safeties. This gun doesn't have it. And I'm just very conscious of that. That you just can't have this gun being carried around with the hammer down on a live chamber. Very, very unsafe. However, that is how these guns were originally designed. So now what else do we have here? We have the loading gate. The cylinder's not moving. Why not? Well, you got to put it half cock. So 1, 2. Now the cylinder moves freely. So the way you do this, if you were loading this gun, doing the cowboy load, even though you have 7 chambers in the cylinder, it's really safe to have 5. Now let's just say you were at the range and you're just casually shooting and you loaded up 6 and you just immediately fired those 6, you're probably fine. But the cowboy load is load 1, skip 2, load 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull back on the hammer, and what you would see is all these cartridges are loaded except this one. And then you could fire, the gun will not go off, but now you have a hammer on an empty chamber and then 5 chambers around it that will fire. So that's the cowboy load. And that is 100% very important for any Colt single action army production. So one of the Evil Roy features is the slimmer grip. Another one is the sights. The sights on the Evil Roy are a little more squared off and just a little bit better. Is it a big difference? Honestly, probably not. See how this is more of a squared off in the back here? On most other reproductions, this is more rounded. And I think they feel that if you have the squared off rear sight, it's a little bit more accurate. One of the things that you can't see about the Evil Roy, that supposedly internally, it's been gone over by a gunsmith who replaced parts and did a lot of fine tuning and fitting and this and that. I can't speak to that. I will say this is a very smooth gun. This is a very smooth gun. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that someone did a fantastic job making this run well. We have the cylinder release pin. That's a cylinder release button. You want to take the cylinder out. I put it at half cock, by the way, so 1, 2, 3, 4, if anyone cares. The Colt Peacemaker has 4 clicks. The authentic ones are 4 clicks. And this is not like a free-floating firing pin on some other guns. This is pretty fixed, solidly fixed in place. Got a little pin there. This absolutely can set off a cartridge when the hammer is down. But anyway, 1, I think I skipped it, 1, 2. Push down on the button. Pin comes out. Cylinder will come out. This particular model, this piece comes out too. I don't know if this was on my other guns. Someone comment on that. I don't know. Are they all like this or just this one? I don't know. Big whole chunking piece of metal, this cylinder. It's a little bit of look on the inside. This gun has been shot. A little bit of dirt in there. Some grease on my hands. Let me just clean this off a little bit. And we're going to put it all back together. Cylinder back in there. I have that little part in there. These guns can be a little tight. This is no exception. There we go. In. By the way, that's fun. That's cool. I'm having fun with this review. So we got 357 Magnum Evil Roy. Let's go take a look at the markings real quick. This is the patent information on the original Colt Single Action Army, which they don't need to put on, but they can. There's a little bit of space here. I wonder if I should tighten this up. See, this is flex at all? Not really. Typically, I don't see that much of a gap in this gun. In this spot right here. I might tighten that just a little bit with the screw, see if that tightens down at all. Nice color case hardening, like I mentioned before. Basically, the frame is color case hardened, but the cylinder and the barrel are not. Big front sight. I forgot to mention the ejector rod. So you have to manually load this one at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or just the 5 for the cowboy load. To get them out, let's just say you load them. 1, skip 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cowboy load. It's a single action only revolver. There's no double action. Hammer has to be cocked every time. Fire 0 to 6. Half cock again. Open the loading gate. You see that? The ejector rod's going to knock out fired or unfired cases. When I first got this ejector rod was pretty stiff. It's broken in a little bit. Again, this is the 4.75 inch barrel. Some information here. Cimarron, S.A.A, Fredericksburg, Texas. Manufactured by S.A.A, Italy. Is that a serial number? I wonder if that's a serial number or if that is a... Let's see, this says ER 9414, and that's repeated on this cylinder, so that is the serial number of the gun. So we got the Cimarron Evil Roy. I guess I like this gun, to be honest. If it hasn't come across, I like this gun. So the question is, how does it shoot? And pretty well. This is a relatively large revolver, almost 5-inch barrel, single action only. Assuming it's well put together, it should shoot pretty well. What do I have here? So what I'm doing is I'm basically taking the way I have to aim with this gun is basically taking the front sight and putting it directly on top of the target. It's kind of a combat hold. At 7 yards, it's 5 shots, 7 yards. Pretty good group. For you would imagine for a relatively large revolver in single action, you should have good groups. 10 yards, okay. A little high there. I'm not sure how much of it is me, how much of it is the gun. 15 yards. Might be overcompensating with the sights there. Let's see. Oh yeah, so this is 2. It looks like 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20 yards. I have this thing where if I'm doing targets, I'll shoot. The 20-yard target is always like the worst. Not the worst, but the 20-yard target always seems disproportionately bad. So I have one miss, the one miss in the whole time, 25 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 25 yards, standing, that's not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's pretty good. Have I done better? Yeah. But I think I'm a pretty decent shot. A pretty decent handgun shooter, a pretty decent revolver shooter, and I would challenge anyone to do as good with those sights at 25 yards. Those groups were in 38 special. I think I'm mostly just going to shoot this gun in 38 special. I have 357 Magnum ammo just to put some on the table. In 38 Special, it's quite pleasant to shoot. In 357 Magnum, it's kind of a handful. People sometimes look down on 357 Magnum because we have these other calibers that are so much more powerful, and they are. 44 Magnum, 454 Casull, 500 Smith & Wesson. They are very powerful cartridges. But 357 Magnum is no slouch. And when I'm kind of shooting 357 Magnum, it's kind of like, whoa. It's kind of like, I can do it. But it's not something I want to do all the time. It's a handful. It's like, whoa. That's scientifically, that's a scientific term. So I think most people are just going to shoot this in 38 Special, and once in a while put some 357 Magnum cartridges in there just for fun. That's how most people are going to do it. Why is that like that? Should I be on that? That is odd. That would not fire that way. Have I done something? Oh, okay. Alright, I know what I did. I know what I did. I know what I did. So I'll tell you what I did. See this? This hammer is not going to go all the way forward. There's some kind of like safety mechanism where if you push the pin in too far, it'll block the hammer. That's some kind of safety mechanism, and I just now remembered it. So I got to take this pin out slightly further. Now it will fire. Now that's potentially dangerous because you might actually use this and forget about this, and the gun was not going to go off. So I do like the Revolver. I think it's a fun gun to shoot. I like it in 38 Special. In 357 Magnum, it's a little bit of a handful. Not that it's unbearable, not that it's undoable, but it's just a bit too much to be fun. And some people might like that. Some people might like that. I consider this to be a really fun range toy. It's a really fun range toy for me. I enjoy taking it out of the range once in a while. I like that I have this in 38 Special. I had another Cimarron gun in 45 Colt, a little expensive to shoot. I had one in 9mm. That was an Uberti, the Uberti El Patron. And I just felt that the 9mm cases, so it was a 9mm Luger gun, but I felt like the cases would kind of slide backwards out of the cylinder, and unless you loaded them like this, you had to load it like this to make sure the cases kind of sat properly. Because if you didn't, then they could kind of slide backwards and bind the cylinder up. This doesn't have it. I feel like it's the best of all the worlds. It's not as expensive as 45 Colt. It doesn't have the issues that 9mm seems to have. It seems to be more. I think it's more accurate than my 9mm example. And 38 Special, while not super cheap, is as affordable as anything like this is going to get. So now, can I recommend the Cimarron Evil Roy? Yes. Keep in mind that there is a safety concern. There is a safety concern. This absolutely can go off on a live cartridge if you smack the back of the hammer. But it's just a fun gun to shoot. And if you're just shooting at the range recreationally, I think you'd be fine. I think these guns are so fun to shoot. I love them. I consider this a range toy, a recreational gun. I don't consider this a defensive firearm at all. You know, you can hold the hammer down and go like this. So I'm sorry, the trigger. See, I'm holding the trigger down. This will work. The gun will fire that way. You will not hit anything, but the gun will fire that way. That's fun. That's fun. Maybe do that outdoors. I did that indoor range one time, and I don't know if the range officer liked it, but I have done that. What am I supposed to be doing with my thumb? Oh, hit the camera. The tripod. Yeah, now I'm just fooling around. Now I'm just messing around. Cimarron Evil Roy recommended. And keep in mind that the Evil Roy name is going to be retired soon. So I'm pretty sure that Cimarron has just stopped making the Evil Roy gun because the person who's named that, I think it's Gene Piercy that I mentioned before, he's retiring. So the gun's being retired too. Now it's going to be replaced by another very similar model, but not this exact one. So if you ever wanted to buy an Evil Roy, go buy them because they're not going to exist much longer. I'm pretty sure once their inventory of guns is sold out, they're gone. So like I said, definitely I recommend if you want a gun like this. This seems to be just as good as anything other. It is smooth. It is pretty accurate. Reliable, which I can't say about all other Cimarron products that I've had. Out of the box, ready to go. It is everything that's advertised to be, which, you know what, today is not something you always see. So this has been Steven from the Even Steven channel. Please do all that like, sharing, and subscribing, and I will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.